We're going to kick things off with topic number one. It's from the NFL. We're now through 2 weeks of the 2021 NFL season, Brandon, and one of the craziest games in week one was saved sort of for last at the end of Sunday, where the Chiefs and Ravens went at. A lot of people thought this was going to be a good game, but the Ravens, came in with a lot of injuries, got a lot of guys out for the season. So the Chiefs were the heavy favorite, but Ravens with a big comeback win and a big fourth down call. Brandon, what did you think of it?
Well, I loved it. I loved watching this game, and I loved seeing these two teams play against each other. Obviously, with two of the young, best quarterbacks in the NFL with Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. So I think this was just must-watch TV for any football fan around the world, to be honest, watching these two teams go at it. And it was something that didn't disappoint, to be honest. I think the Chiefs really came out fast and came out swinging, and I think that guy on the left, Lamar Jackson, came out a little cold, but he quickly found his form and just absolutely started carving up that Chiefs defense, especially on the ground, rushing for over 100 yards and also throwing for over 100 yards. Had 2 rushing touchdowns, had a passing touchdown. So he had himself just an amazing night, overall. And it just proves that, Lamar Jackson can be in the conversation for MVP yet again in the NFL. And I think, the Chiefs, came out and looked like the Chiefs of old, still a great team, had a chance to win there. Their defense looked really good. I just think it's one of those things where, like I said, I think Lamar Jackson is so hard to contain that even one of the best defenses in the NFL, he makes them kind of look silly at times. And that's what Lamar was doing. So I don't even think the Chiefs played bad at all. I think they played really good across the board, offense and defense. I just really think when it came down to it, the Chiefs made that gutsy call of going for it on fourth down, fourth and short, to not put the ball back in Patrick Mahomes' hands and not even give the Chiefs a chance to win the game. I think that was obviously the call of the week, the play of the week. And so much credit to John Harbaugh for basically making that call and for basically having the belief in his players and specifically in Lamar Jackson to be able to go out and execute the play and get the first down and win the game. And I even tweeted out, like I said, hey, give me a follow on Twitter. But I even tweeted out being like, I love seeing coaches believing in their players, especially in a big moment. And, you can see him just go, hey, Lamar, you want to go for it? All right, let's go. Like no second guessing, just, and that even shows the player like he believes in us. No second guessing. We're ready to go. They run right to the line. And I think even the Chiefs, were caught a little off guard where they were like, are they going to try to, get us to jump off sides with maybe a hard snap? But nope, boom. They went on first sound immediately and they executed a good fourth down play. And that proved to be the play that won the game, to be honest. In the end, it just secured the win. So I loved it. I loved watching these two teams play for sure. And I'm sure we'll see them play again later in the future, maybe even in the playoffs.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if these two teams played later in the postseason. Two of the better young quarterbacks in the NFL with two completely different styles, but both effective. Harbaugh has always been an aggressive coach. Whether or not I like him, because I'm not really a big fan, he's an excellent coach. Guy's an excellent coach. That's why he's been there for so long. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He's always in the playoffs and made the right call. I think he was going to go for it on fourth down anyway, whether Lamar said yay or nay. But I think just having your quarterback say yes kind of reassures you. I mean, the quarterback's going to want to go for it. I think that's kind of always how it is. But I think Harbaugh, was going to go for it on fourth down anyway. Teams need to do that against the Chiefs. I remember when the Patriots were that high-flying offense with Brady and Gronk and Edelman and even when they had Randy Moss and Wes Welker, and it was like teams didn't go for it on fourth down enough against this high-flying offense. Sometimes you need to go for it on fourth down to keep the ball out of their hands. So the Ravens did the right thing. They took the ball out of the Chiefs' hands, and that's why they won the game. Big comeback win for them. You do wonder with the Chiefs, they're such a good offense, but are they going to be able to salt away wins? Do they have that kind of pounding running game to kind of kill the clock, to have that fourth quarter where they're up by a couple of scores and they can just kind of control the clock, control the tempo, and just salt away the victory. And I don't know if they have that. They might develop that over the season. They've revamped their offensive line, so that's probably going to take some time too. They brought in Joe Tooney. They brought in, I can't remember the tackle's name from the Ravens actually that they brought in. But they brought in some new guys. The offensive line, I think, is a little bit better this year, but it takes time for an offensive line to gel. So maybe that's part of it too. But they need to be able to kind of grab and pound late in games if they have a big lead in order to kind of secure wins, or teams like the Ravens are going to be able to try to come back. Now, there's going to be times where the Chiefs are going to outscore everybody, and it's just not going to matter. But against the better teams like the Ravens, even a team like the Titans, who has the ability to come back, they have been very inconsistent to start the year, but they have the weapons to come back in a quick manner. They got to be able to, the Chiefs got to be able to find a way to salt away wins. So we'll see if that's something they do. But yeah, the Ravens just showing that kind of grit and toughness they've showed since Harbaugh's gotten there. They don't panic. They play hard. They play tough. They have a devastating running game, no matter who's in the backfield. We thought that it was going to be tough without their top two runners, but as you can see, they can still ground and pound and run the football, whether it's Lamar Jackson or whoever they want to bring in there, Devontae Freeman, anybody else who they want to bring in as a street free agent. So they're going to be tough down the stretch. The Marcus Peters injury, I think, is the toughest one for them to sustain right now. But they're going to be a tough team in the AFC. This was just a gutsy and I think important win for the Ravens, because if they lose this game, they're 0-2, and their schedule doesn't get a ton easier, the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you're right. It was, I think, a must win for them, and it's crazy to say that early in the season, but I think it was. And so they got it done. And to your point, I think the Marcus Peters injury is a lot bigger and more devastating, a lot harder to replace him right now, where it looks like they've just kind of bounced back and replaced their running backs quickly, with Latavius Murray coming in and just hitting the ground running per se. Obviously, for a running back, I think he's been doing amazing just immediately, and he's a good complement to Lamar Jackson, obviously the star of their team. But I will say this about the Chiefs, and to the point that you brought up as well, I think in all sports, but especially in professional sports, these moments are something that you have to take in as an experience for something that happens later on. So to your point, I think the Chiefs will take this experience and say, hey, we can't let that happen again. We have to be able to salt the game away and not let a team like Lamar or the Ravens and Lamar Jackson basically get back in the game like that and take control over. So it's a game of momentum, and it really swung back and forth in that game. But in the end, the Ravens were really the ones that had the most momentum and basically got the clutch win. So, I got to say, I like Harbaugh. So, so there's that on that.
Folks, if you like this show, you're watching it right now on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. That's Comeback Sports on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, Comeback Sports. And then all the cut-ups that our awesome producer, Ben Kudo, puts together after the show, that'll all filter to your YouTube channel. You don't have to go search for it. It's just right there in your subscriptions.